everybody. It's Toni Pettit, and I am here with Mr. Dave Reed, and we are getting ready to do the next exciting and thrilling episode of Out and About with Toni and Diane.
Hello, is anybody here? I'm looking. Hello.
Where are you?
I wish I knew. This place is huge.
Well, get in here and sit down, because I already introduced that we are Out and About with Toni and Diane.
Did you get lost again?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Dave, I cannot believe how big this place is.
It's very deceiving, isn't it?
Very deceiving. I was laying in bed last night thinking, how are you guys going to get all that stuff in this little bitty doctor's office?
Yeah.
And I don't think we're going to have any issues.
And so here we are. Hi, we're out and about again with Toni and Diane.
Yeah. Did you hear her echoing through the building as she's going, hello, hello, where are you, where are you? So yeah,
Just
so
I'm
here we are.
dumbfounded about how big it is.
Yeah. It's impressive, right?
Very
Right?
impressive.
Yeah. And we haven't said where we are. Except that it was a former doctor's office. So we are here again with Dave Reed, and we were just talking about how long it's been. It's been 3 years since we
visited.
visited last.
And we were
right?
at the
Streatorland
Streatorland
Historical
Historical Museum across town.
on Vermillion Street.
South Vermillion, yeah.
Right. Which is still there for
Yes.
the time being.
For the time being,
Because
yeah.
and there's look at that beautiful thing there.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. So
Back in the day when, oh my gosh, when the little public schools were just thriving.
I think of the thousands of times I walked under that window, going in the front door of Garfield School.
And where was Garfield School located?
It was located where City Hall is now.
Oh, okay, all right.
So a little piece of history back there that actually will be now at home here in another piece of history, because we've got a little history about this building in itself. But where we are is former Dr. Ricka's office, or
Yes.
what, I don't even know what the name of this medical
It was
building
Parkview
Oh,
Medical.
yeah, Parkview Medical.
We're right across from the city park.
Yeah.
So that's where we are now, very centrally located, and the Streatorland Historical Museum, this is their new home.
Yes,
And-
it will be.
Yeah, soon we hope, right?
Yeah.
And you have got to be elated.
Yes, we are. We are just all tingly, you know. I knew you'd take that. We can't believe our good luck.
Wow.
And
And who does this belong to? This building?
it did belong to Dr. Glenn Ricka
Glenn
and his wife
Ricka.
and his wife Karen. We can't forget, you know, he
Okay.
didn't donate it himself. Him and his
Okay.
wife donated this building
So yeah,
to the
so,
Historical Society.
so not purchased.
This building was up for sale, right?
Yes, it was up for sale
And
for
you guys
several
had
years.
tons of millions of dollars to buy it, right?
No, we didn't.
Well, then how did this come about?
Well, it's funny because we had a regular scheduled meeting back, I'm thinking it was September, at the old building. And several of us had walked through the building and we just couldn't believe how overcrowded it has gotten. And
Well, you made that comment last time we were there, that it
Yeah.
was just packed and
it was,
packed and packed.
and people
Yeah.
just give us more things.
Sure.
And we don't want to discourage that.
Sure, I
So-
know I've donated some stuff there
Yeah.
myself, yeah.
And so we were thinking, what can we do to alleviate this problem? And one of the solutions we came up with was off-the-site storage. Get a storage location, we can kind of glean the museum and kind of cull some of the artifacts and thin it out and just rotate.
Oh, well, that's what I was saying, then you would alternate? Is
Yeah,
that
then
what
we
you
would
do?
just
Okay.
rotate
Okay.
things in and out, but that would be another extra expense.
Sure,
It would be
sure.
monthly rental and a lot of work.
Traveling back and forth. And what
Yeah.
about temperature and
Right.
wouldn't that play a factor
It-
in
it
your historical items?
Some of the artifacts, yeah,
Right, you
are
couldn't
heat
put
sensitive
everything in
and
there, right.
humidity
Right.
sensitive. So we were kind of mulling over what our options to the future would be, and it wasn't more than a couple of weeks. I got a call from an old friend, Dr. Glenn Ricka. And Glenn and I go way back, our kids grew up together, so I wasn't surprised.
Everybody knows Dr. Rick.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised to get a call from him. And so he asked if he could meet me here at his building. And I'm like, your old office? He said, yeah, could you meet me there? I want to talk to you. And I thought maybe something with the Historical Society or something history related he wanted to talk about. But I couldn't understand why you'd want to meet here at an empty building.
Wow.
And somebody suggested, well, it's for sale. I think he's gonna probably make a sales pitch for the historical
I
society.
can't even imagine what a building like this would even sell for.
Yeah, it was
It is
listed well over
such a-
300, I think.
Wow, it's such a great building.
Yeah.
I mean, once you're in here, it's absolutely amazing.
So I met him here, and we walked through the building, and he was telling me how he thought it would be perfect for the historical society, and I'd the same as
He's
you.
baiting you. He was baiting you.
And just like you though, I was like, I was dumbfounded how big this is inside. How much square footage there's. How, I remember those examining rooms, I've been in them dozens of times over my
I
lifetime.
have, man, yeah.
And I pictured them these small little 8x8 rooms, and they're all like 10x12 or 12x14. They're good sized rooms once you get
Once
the
you get
furniture
everything
out.
Sure.
And I was dumbfounded, and I'm waiting for the sales pitch to come. And at the end, he goes, Karen and I think this would just be perfect for the Historical Society, so we would love to just sign it over to you.
Whoa.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
As my friend
Talk
Toni
about
would
dumbfounded.
say, as my friend Toni would say, that's a little guy in your life.
Yes.
That's what Toni would say.
Yes, my wife would say it's Providence.
Providence.
Providence,
Okay.
yep.
Wow.
And I'm like, we would love to have
Divine
this,
intervention.
but I cannot speak for the board.
Oh.
We have to have a board meeting.
Did you almost faint?
Yes, I did.
I would have
And
bawled.
And I was overwhelmed. First I'm thinking, I've got to convince them to do all that work of moving all those artifacts over here.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, can you meet me here a week from tonight if I invite the entire board? Because I knew it would be easier to
And how many
convince
people are
them.
on the board?
Well, there's 8 right now.
8 right now. Okay. Okay. So
And
all 8 of them showed up?
All 8 of them showed up, and I talked to them individually beforehand.
Okay.
And they were all skeptical. But once they got here, they were dumbfounded by the space. And they all said, we can absolutely not take this offer. It is
Too perfect.
Well,
Too good to be
bless
true.
your
Yeah, yeah.
heart, Dr. Glenn Ricka and
Yeah.
wife.
Yeah.
yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Very,
we owe a lot
very
to.
generous.
Somebody called this, somebody I was talking to called this the building with the funny roof.
Yeah.
It's got like a slanted roof to
It
it.
slants in instead of.
Kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of neat.
And you know what? It's historic in its own right, but from a different era. So much
Yes.
of the Streatorland Historical Museum is carrying articles from way, way back, right?
Right.
And
Priceless.
through the World War,
Priceless.
right? From early days of Streeter
Yep.
through.
Back to the 1870s.
What is, I was gonna say, do you know your oldest thing that you have in the museum right now?
Well, I know, just off the top of my head, I know we have the first safe that came to Streeter in 1866.
Okay.
That was from Samuel Plum, Colonel Plum's brother.
That's not the one that the robbers robbed, is it?
No. No. But Sam Plum was a banker in Oberlin,
Okay, that's right. that's
Ohio, and that's where Colonel Plum came
right.
from.
That's right, okay.
And the colonel saw the potential of this town and how fast it was growing. Once he opened up the coal mines, he didn't call him. He wrote a letter to Sam saying, you need to come here, we need a bank in Streeter, Illinois.
And where was the first bank then?
It was on South Bloomington
South
Street,
Bloomington.
where parking lot is now,
Okay.
on the 100 block west side.
Wow, so that's, what year did you say that?
1866.
1866.
That Sam Plum came here in 1866 and he brought that safe with him.
Okay.
So,
And this building was built in 1960?
1954.
1954.
54. I wasn't born
So,
Yeah.
mid-century modern design is what it is. That's what it is, mid-century modern.
Yeah.
And it was probably quite the showpiece.
Yeah,
in
back
1950
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
1954.
Yeah,
Yeah,
back
very
in the
right.
day, yeah.
Because it was so unique. It still is. It's still a very unique look.
And who did you
to
say it was Dr. Powell,
Doc-
not Dr. Powell?
No, Dr. Rollin S. Moore.
Moore, Dr. Moore
Dr.
started.
Moore
Okay, okay.
opened this building. He
Wow.
brought in Dr. Schiffbauer
Of Engle Lane fame.
of
correct?
Engle Lane fame.
Okay.
Yeah. Moore and Schiffbauer.
What
were
a tangled web. Here we go.
two doctors
Tell
here.
you.
They were here for years. It was Moore and Schiffbauer. And then when Dr. Moore retired, Schiffbauer brought in Dr. Ricka.
Okay.
That's right.
and I'm thinking that was 82 or 83. I need to ask sometime when he
Yeah,
actually came to Streeter. So then it was Schiffbauer and Ricka.
Okay, gosh.
So you know what, this building is roughly
Yeah.
60-some years old, right? Not quite?
70.
Well, think about it.
1954.
I was born in 55. Makes
Oh yeah,
sense,
70,
66.
excuse me. So close to
Giving my
70
age,
years
giving
old.
my age
But,
away
you know,
on TV.
So
You don't look a day over 25.
it's over 65. I can't do the math.
that's
Yeah, but you know what, it's in really
Not quite 70.
great
It's,
condition.
yeah, they did a great job of taking care of this building.
Right.
It was
So-
turnkey ready when we came in.
Yeah,
Why
what
did
did
you, so you walked in, and did you have to remove the, like, the what do you call them, the beds or the,
No, all the rooms were
they
empty.
were all
Okay.
empty?
What we did have to do, and we knew we would have to do right away, is to remove all the sinks in all the exam
And
rooms.
every room had a sink.
Every examining room
Doctor's
had a
office.
sink.
Right.
Yeah, right. So we knew we needed to get rid of them, so we pulled all the sinks and just put blank countertops on there for more display space.
And I noticed each room has like a glass desk.
Yes.
And what a cool place, like for jewelry and little things
Yeah.
like that, you know? I
Little
just,
artifacts.
and you left those in the room.
We're leaving all of those in the rooms, yeah.
All right. And
And I wanted to take them out. Mary Lou Anderson, who is the museum director, it's her building. I wanted to take them all out, and she said,
You
"Wow,
know,
this is part of the
no
building."
offense that it's her building, it's
Yeah.
our building. It's
Yeah,
Streeter's
Streeter's
building, if you
building,
think,
yeah.
I don't mean to be rude, but
Yeah,
we need to, there's so much history in Streeter that we just don't know.
yeah.
You know, I learned about Owens being in a different spot just the other day.
Yeah.
I didn't know that
And
either.
I'm every day I learn something new, and
Yeah, and we're so
So how
lucky,
many
we're so lucky.
rooms, exhibit rooms, like former examining rooms, will there be?
there are
in the-
13.
So there'll be 13.
13 different exhibit rooms. Plus we have this big
And-
lobby.
And what are some of the names of the rooms gonna be then? Like
Well, one of them
the
is going to be the founders room.
Founder's room, okay,
Where
okay.
we will highlight the early founders, the people who shaped the community. Then we're going to have one that's on the glass industry, a designated coal mine, and then another industry that's just general. It's going to be a lot of advertising, paraphernalia, and things from the different buildings and industries of in Streeter. I know we're going to have one dedicated to the train history of Streeter, so there's a lot of train buffs out there.
And you have a caboose.
And we
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
1954 caboose. Same year
Ah,
as the
they
building.
should be- oh my goodness,
Yeah.
oh my
So it's
goodness.
just meant to be, meant to be, right?
Now, the caboose isn't gonna fit in here.
Yeah,
No, it's not going to
As
fit.
big as it is,
We-
the caboose is not going to fit in here.
That is
What are we gonna
the,
do with the caboose?
that's the big elephant in the room.
Yeah,
As
okay.
we keep wondering, we have 4 or 5 options
Okay, all right.
out there. I don't know which one's going to fall into place, but I'm confident one of them will.
Cool. And will that
Yes,
be?
because Streeter's a giving town, and I
Yeah.
think people really want it to.
Yeah, so,
Survive.
so does the historical museum say, here's site in order of what we preference, right? A, B, C, D, E, or whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the city makes the decision, is a combined effort, who will,
About the caboose?
yeah, about where it will go? How will that
It's going to
decision-
be, actually, it'll actually come down to the board of directors of the Historical Society.
Okay,
We have reached out to several people for locations. One of them was the city of Streeter.
okay.
We're asking them if maybe we could put it across the street in the city park. That's an option. Talking to the gentleman across the alley that owns the empty lot. So we'd like to keep it close to the building.
Sure, sure.
There are other locations in town that
Okay.
we're looking at possibilities. So whoever says yes, then it'll be up to the board whether or not we want to
Okay.
pursue that.
Okay, and then that will be one of the last pieces of the puzzle that are gonna be relocated?
Yes.
So keep your eyes open.
And
Yeah,
do a where.
Because right now our main
Well,
concern,
that would be a fun contest.
yeah. But right now our main concern is getting the artifacts in here, getting the museum open as soon as possible. Then we're gonna deal with the caboose
And do you have a
other
moving
issues.
company doing that for you,
No, we don't.
or you do not have
That's
a
We
moving
do
it's
not.
Reed and Associates.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Volunteer
volunteer.
plus.
Volunteer.
Volunteer
Streeter is just
Sure.
wonderful
You bet.
with their volunteers.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we've had people not even associated with the Historical Society contact us and say, when you're ready, I want to volunteer and help move artifacts. I think we're going to do it in little pieces though. Like I said, we have 13 exhibit rooms. There'll be no more examinations.
No exams here.
Yeah, no more examinations being done in this building.
Except if you're
I hope I never hear
examining
about
research.
it.
Except if you're examining research in the research.
Yes. But there are 13 exhibit rooms, and we're going to do them one at a time. So we're going to bring, so it'll be a managed slow move. One room at a time, one theme at a time, instead of just trying to move it all.
Sure.
So do
That
you
makes
think
sense.
that everything that is currently at the current location, will it all be on display? Or are you
No.
still gonna have to have some storage somewhere?
I think it would probably all fit, and it would be more spread out than it is there.
Mhm.
But even at that, it's more than we want to have on display.
Okay.
We want to thin out what the artifacts that are on display so you can actually see them, not have things piled on top of each other, not see what's behind or underneath. So we're going to be very selective what we put on display. But then are going to catalog and organize every artifact we have and bring it over and put it in storage. So Mary Lou, the museum director, will then constantly be swapping things out. So everything will be on display at least once during the year.
And
That's
you
our plan.
have a beautiful full basement downstairs,
Yes.
and you can use that as storage?
Yes, it's a
Wow.
nice dry basement, a lot of shelving.
Wow.
And so, and Mary Lou and I, we are probably what you'd call the second or third generation of the people running the museum. So we kind of inherited that cluster. You know, just
Sure.
a big,
Well-
the big catalog of artifacts
Yeah.
we've got, but none of it is organized, none of it is cataloged. Because, you know, thank God we had those people in between 76 and 85 that started collecting things, but they didn't write it down, who it came from.
When did the first, when did the museum open, the first year?
1985.
In 85, okay.
Yeah, the Heritage Association, which was the precursor to the
Okay.
Historical Society, was organized in 1976. It was organized, the impetus of Sam Plum, the grandson of the banker I mentioned earlier. Sam Plum and Connie Klein Engel of Engel
Of
Lane.
Engel Lane Theater, there we go.
Those two graduated high school together.
Oh,
And they have been lifelong friends. And I don't know if 1976, because it was the bicentennial year, it was also Streeter High School's centennial
yeah,
year,
okay.
if that got them thinking about Streeter
Oh, okay.
and everything. But they decided we needed to have a heritage association.
a lot of towns
historical
don't
society.
have like
No.
a historical museum for their town.
And especially
We
in
have a lot of
1976. So they got a group of their friends and they got it organized. So, you know, I give those two credit that they brought in other people. And as soon as it was organized, and there was a group of 8 or 10 of them, their friends and their family started giving them artifacts and giving them papers and things. And they were saving them at their home. And eventually Streeter National Bank, when it was at the Murray building downtown, gave them a room upstairs on the 4th floor to use for storage. So they started storing stuff up there.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
And about give you a quick little history
Yeah,
here
no,
of the
that's
Historical
great.
Society. In '79, they changed the name from Heritage Association to Historical Society. And that is when Jim Beavers,
Gosh.
remember that name?
Yes,
Jim
my
Beavers got
gosh.
involved. And he wasn't one of the founders of the organization, but he was the big impetus. He was like
Yeah.
Dr. Schiffbauer was
The
with
push.
Engel Lane.
He was the push.
He didn't start Engel Lane, but once he got involved, he
Right.
took it to the next level. That was
Right.
Jim Beavers.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
he said, we
That's the name
need
of
to
the
have a
band.
museum.
Wow.
And he started looking for places to put the museum. They went into negotiations to buy the Mulford House
Oh.
next door to
Yeah,
the
yeah, by
armory.
the armory. That's cool.
That would have been a great location,
Yeah.
but that fell through. There was a couple other locations they were looking at. The Baker House where
Oh,
Coach Release
yeah,
lives,
yeah.
that was for sale at one time.
Wow.
But they couldn't afford that. They were just a starting out fledgling organization. And then they were approached by Bob and Doug Deacon and their mother Lorraine Deacon. And they said, we see in the paper you guys are looking for a museum. We have a home we would like to let you use. That's at 306 South Vermillion.
Wow.
And I'm sure they were as dumbfounded then as I was when I talked to Dr. Ricka.
Wow, yeah.
So, you know, and I gotta give kudos to the Deacon family. They let us use that house from 1985 till now, which is 37 years.
Wow.
And the only stipulation was if we ever quit using it as a museum, it would revert back to the Deacon family. We could use it as long as we, yeah.
Fair enough.
Nice.
So after Dr. Ricka made us this offer, I had the unenviable job of calling Bob and saying, we're moving out of the house you've let us use. And of course, Bob was just a great guy. Always has.
Oh, Deacons have done a lot for
Yes,
Streator.
yes. And I've worked with Bob on other things, so I know him pretty well.
Yeah.
So I called him and said, you know, our only request is you let us stay there long enough to get moved, and, you know, I hope you don't kick us out in 30 days.
Sure.
Because the agreement is it reverts back to you. And his reply was, well, that was a good idea 37 years ago when I was a young man.
No.
He said, we don't want that house.
What?
He
Oh.
said, you use it as long as you need it. He said, and I'm going to sign it over to you.
Oh my.
So not only did we get gifted this building,
Wow.
Oh,
we just got
goosebumps. I
gifted
got goosebumps.
the Deacon home. So now we aren't in a rush to get moved over. We can take our time. And the
Wow.
only reason we could accept this donation, because there's a cost to getting moved, the painting,
Oh, sure.
you know, the light construction we had to do. The only reason we can do this is because of the donation of the Deacon family, letting us use that house for 37 years, no rent.
Oh, man.
No mortgage. So that put us in the position we were in to be able to accept it.
Streeter's
So,
very lucky.
Yes.
Streeter's very lucky. Wow.
All I can say, it's a big G-O-D in your L-I-F-E. That's all I'm gonna
Yep.
say. It's amazing.
again, Providence.
Yeah, those
Yeah,
things don't.
somebody's
it
looking out
doesn't-
for us.
Right,
Wow.
right.
It was
I mean,
meant
that's
to be. It's meant to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Just incredible.
unbelievable. So now
You
you
are very fortunate. A
So
big
you
thank
said-
you to the Deacon
And the,
family
exactly,
and
thank you to the
Dr.
Deacons,
Ricka, yeah.
yes,
Yes.
yes, but now back to, you had to remove the sinks and things like that, and you painted.
We painted every
And that
inch.
is all
is-
done by volunteers, all right?
Yes, yes.
Same as a moving company.
Yeah.
Same people.
Mary
Volunteers. are
Lou
us.
Anderson, our director's
Jack of all
son.
trades, master of none.
Mary Lou Anderson's son and daughter-in-law are doing all, have done all the painting. They've helped a little in the construction and stuff here, but
And all the furniture, I mean, we've talked about the artifacts and things that you're gonna bring that are historical and that are part of the museum. What about the furnishings and all that? I mean, there's a lot of stuff over there. There's the tables and there's isn't there a big piano over there that we were
there
playing
is
with?
a huge
And there's
piano.
cabinetry and all the mannequins and we were
Yeah.
trying on their
The
hats.
mannequins are back there in a corner somewhere.
Yeah,
So-
well, we bought new mannequins.
Oh, okay, new man.
Oh, those are
Because
new mannequins?
Those are all new mannequins we
Oh,
got
okay.
back
Just for
there.
getting acquainted.
We,
They're naked now, right now. They're naked.
yeah,
So-
so keep telling people
So
that.
all the, okay, so then the furniture is coming too, right?
A lot of the furniture's coming,
Oh, I
but
can't
since
wait.
since the Deacon family so generously said you can stay there as long as you need it, we are going to keep most of that furniture there. We're planning right now to use that once we get 95% of the artifacts over here and have either on display or in storage. We're going to keep just enough there to keep it interesting and use that building, the old museum, just for special occasions. You know,
Oh.
special events, doing programs,
Clever.
bridal shower, somebody wants to rent it
Yeah, I was
out.
gonna say you could have.
Yeah, and there's gonna be plenty of room now because we're gonna get a lot of that clutter out of there.
Super.
Well, and this location is like central. I mean, it's
Yeah.
right across from the
And
park.
parking is not an issue.
You know, and
Lots
it's,
of
you can
parking
walk from Main
space.
Street down here,
Yeah.
it's a walk
Sure.
on Brit, you know,
Oh,
it's
within
just.
walking distance of the high school?
Yes.
So,
And
Right.
all the
Field
events
trips for all the
going.
schools, I talked about that before, the schools should be making a field trip
Right.
here.
Yeah.
well,
yeah.
now, I mean, I was thinking that as you were
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
they'll-
the
they could
exhibit
walk
rooms and
over.
spaces.
Yeah.
But if you had North Lawn or Centennial or any of the schools wanted to come and do a tour of the historical museum, it's really designed perfectly for that because you have a corridor down one side and you go back up the other
Up
side.
the
It's
other
just a
side.
big, like,
Big
you do
circle.
laps.
Big circle, yeah.
You do laps around the museum.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Well, I'm still mesmerized by the site.
Now,
Yes.
I spent some time in the research room where all the directories are and the photographs. There were all kinds of pictures in there. Is that gonna have its own space? Like this room is like, looks really nice.
Yes, we are. And if anybody who has ever been into the Historical Society Museum, we had an office that served as Mary Lou's administrative office. It's where once a month, 3 people squeezed in there with her to put together the newsletter, which is a big operation because they
You
do
guys aren't gonna know that.
they do 500 copies of an 8-page
Yeah,
newsletter that they
right.
have. And then also, if anybody came in was doing any kind of genealogy or historical they were all in this one
Yes.
room.
Yeah.
Now
It's
we
very
have-
cozy.
It was very cozy.
Very cozy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now Mary Lou has her own space. We have a whole area, probably twice the size of Mary Lou's office just for the newsletter. So that's all on its own. And we have a separate room that's a 10 by 10 room just for research for our patrons.
Isn't there an intercom system in this building too?
Yes, there is. Yeah.
So, I know you were thinking they're gonna be yelling at each other.
Yeah, you can
There's-
see
There's an
the
intercom.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can just push a button and go, Mary Lou to the front office.
Yeah.
Mary Lou to the research.
Mary Lou,
room.
where are
Mary
you?
Lou, where are you? I can't find you.
Yeah. Because
We should have had that when I was looking for you. I could have got on that intercom saying, Diane, where are you? It's time to get started.
When I'm in here, I was hanging some shelves just yesterday in one of the rooms. And I go to get Mary Lou because she was doing some cleaning and helping them. I couldn't find her. You gotta walk around for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, and you end up, ooh, where are you?
And in a doctor's office, the rooms are probably airtight or sound tight or whatever you
Yeah.
call that for
Yeah.
privacy,
Yeah.
you know?
Insulated.
Well, we
Yeah.
have taken all the doors off, so.
I saw those down the basement.
Yeah, so.
Do you have a tentative opening day?
Very tentative. Very tentative. We know Park Fest is Memorial Day weekend.
Mhm.
That is the first big event in the city park across the street. And then every Saturday after that will be the farmer's market.
Right.
So we're hoping to be open to the public by Memorial Day.
That would be wonderful.
Now, we can't put that in writing
Right.
yet, but that's our,
Don't quote
yeah, don't quote. But our goal is to be open, is to have the museum pretty well set a week or 2 before that. And be able to invite family and friends to come around and get their opinions of what we got, suggestions, so we can tweak things before that opening day.
So now the hours at the museum on Vermilion Street are midday. They're Monday, well, I don't even know if they're
Right.
Monday through Friday, but
No.
they're midday, right? Like 10 to 2:30 or
Yeah,
something.
9:30 to 2:30,
So
5 hours a
will
day.
those hours be the same here, or do you anticipate?
We are changing our hours,
Okay.
which I'm glad you brought that up. That's one thing we need to get out and publicize. We're going to be open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Okay,
Right now, it's just Monday, Wednesday, Friday,
Oh,
just
okay.
3 days.
okay.
But we're going Wednesday through Saturday. Saturday, mainly because of the park
Sure.
and all the activities going on there. We want to be open.
Yeah.
And we now have a big gift shop.
Oh.
And we are hoping.
We are
to
sitting
gen-
in the gift
Oh,
shop.
yeah.
We're sitting
This is
in,
it.
well,
Okay,
we'll
you're
be
sitting
the
in the
gift shop.
Okay.
We're hoping to generate some sales because our utilities are gonna be 2 to 3 times
Oh, yeah.
what they were at the old building.
Right.
So we're hoping to we're not trying to get rich off of them. I mean, we are a nonprofit, we're
Keep
not
doing
greedy.
it, gotta keep
But
the doors
it
open.
costs
Yes.
money, right?
Sure.
I mean, there
Yeah,
are
so-
things that are non-negotiable that, you know, like your gas, your
Gas and
electric,
electric
you
and
know,
insurance.
right?
and-
And
yeah.
do you have, will you have Wi-Fi here?
Yes,
So that's
Yeah.
a cost,
Yep.
so all
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah, all the
I don't know if this
administrative
is an
costs.
appropriate question or not. You had mentioned insurance and stuff. How do you insure the
Artifacts, the
artifact?
collection.
How do you,
Yeah.
how do you insure that? I mean,
It's hard to do, because we have very few things that actually have a high monetary value. It's all just nostalgia.
sure, okay.
We do have a
okay.
few things.
Sure.
And we have writers for those.
Okay.
But basically, our insurance lady just kind of guesses at what the collection would be worth if it was
Property,
lost.
the value of the
But most of
property.
it's just the fire insurance on the property.
Okay.
So the one more time, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday
Yes.
will be the days of operation.
And they're
And,
not going to be 10:30 or 9:30
okay, that was my
to
next
2:30.
question.
They're going to be 10 to 3.
10 to 3, okay.
Yeah, stay open just a little, because the stores on Main Street are open till 3 o'clock. We wanted to match up with them on Saturdays.
Okay, so Saturday till 3.
Well,
All
of them
4
till
days
3.
will be 10 to 3.
10 to 3,
Okay.
instead of 9:30 to 2:30.
Okay. Will there be an opportunity for special showings, for instance, on people
Yes.
who might come, might
Anybody?
not be able to
Yeah.
be here during the daytime hours while they're at work?
Yes.
But they might want to come after hours? Would there be,
Yep.
which is currently the case, right?
Yeah.
If you can make an appointment to come through the museum with
Yeah.
notice
Yeah. Yeah. And we will
outside of
have,
the regular posted
Yeah.
hours.
yep, and we will have
I
a
don't know
phone
if you
number
folks
out
knew
there.
that.
And
I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
So-
that's
And
news.
I've done that many times, run and given tours of the museum.
Well, and
So
I,
if you want to go to the museum before they relocate to the new facility, so you can truly appreciate the value here.
Yeah, exactly.
You can go to the current location, where they still are, between 9:30, did you say? What did you say?
9:30 to
9:30
they're gonna have
Monday,
everybody
Wednesday, and
confused.
Friday.
They're not gonna
But
know when to
it's-
show.
But if you can't get there
Yeah.
between 9:30 and
Gets me
2:30,
confused.
you can call them and you can go see it afterwards with a special
Yeah.
reservation.
Now, it's a mess over there now, because she is already
Yeah.
starting to box things
Well,
up.
you've already got a few things here already.
Yeah.
Walking through
Yeah.
the pictures here and.
So who do
Yeah.
you call if you want to make a special?
Ghostbusters.
A special,
You either
a
call me,
special appointment.
you either call me or Mary Lou.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
and we'll have
you're-
that phone number on all of our.
Okay, and that'll be true in the future too. So
And we've got to get the word out, because I am surprised at the number of people that have never been
right.
Yeah.
to the original one.
Right.
I'm surprised that people, when I'm talking, didn't know we have a museum.
Exactly.
Let alone not go.
Great point.
Well,
That's
I
my
think
point.
the visibility of this location will be huge
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
Huge
Yeah.
for that.
And we already have the future home of
Right.
out on Park Street.
Yeah,
And-
that's neat to see. That is so neat to go by
Yeah.
and see. That is
And,
really
and
neat.
that's a lot of people. I didn't know we had a museum.
Yeah.
Like, you've
Okay.
lived in the street.
Yeah.
And another thing that surprises me is how many people say you're so much closer to downtown now. And I'm like, no, we were only a block and a half from downtown before. You were a block and a half from the country covered.
Yeah, right.
Well, but I guess because this is on the main thoroughfare,
Yeah.
it's seen all the time.
I think the perception is that you're in a
Yeah.
residential neighborhood, so you must
Yeah.
be not being
Yeah,
downtown.
higher
You
traffic,
really are.
yeah.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah,
You
but
are
we-
downtown.
How
We're just
lucky
as,
for
we're
you.
just as close to
Yeah,
Main
sure.
Street as we were
How lucky for
before.
you, how lucky for Streeter.
Right.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then the volunteers are us. Who's the contact point for that? So if you want to help move
Yeah.
items or,
You can contact either me or Mary Lou.
okay. Do we have phone numbers? Do you want
Yeah,
to?
I give you my phone number. I don't know if I want to give Mary Lou's
No,
without her
no,
permission.
without her permission.
My phone number is 815-822-3427.
Okay.
It's 3427.
822.
3427.
Okay.
Or just send me a message on Facebook, David Reed.
Sorry. Oh, and does the Historical Museum also has a Facebook page?
It does, but it's
Not
barely
very okay.
underused.
Okay.
And that's our fault,
Okay.
because we're,
Well, because sometimes people can just go there and
Yeah.
message directly to the museum, is what I'm
the
thinking.
instant message. I
Right.
get a lot of messages on instant message.
Yeah.
But one thing we need to do better, and I've talked to the board about this, is our presence on Facebook, our website. We're older, you know. I hate to say that.
Speak for yourself! No, I just.
No, I'm talking about my board. I'm not talking about you. But
I'm talking about you. Oh man, I quit. Come on. I'm gonna tell you. Did
Wait,
you
like, don't look at
message
me.
me on Messenger, or was that a text, or was it on Facebook? Did you email me? You
Yeah.
can't keep nothing straight. Don't
Yeah.
kid me.
but we are very
I'm
poor.
just as bad.
But I admit, our board is very poor at that. Like, you know,
Well, you know, it's
but we need to get somebody on there that's really
Yeah.
tech savvy and say, this is your job.
Come on, high school kids, they need
There you
help.
go.
Come on, grade school
Volunteers
kids.
We need a volunteer to do that.
Volunteers are you.
I have in the past posted, you know, some interesting things about the pickle factory or whatever.
Yeah.
And it gets a lot of response, but I'm not good enough at it to do it like on a weekly basis to keep it going and then
Here's
figure
a-
out how to reply. You
here's
guys
a-
showed me how to do a separate account one time, remember that? And then I'm like, how do I go from my account? We did a block party together. Like, I haven't checked the block party page because I don't know how to get off of my page onto that one.
Right?
I still don't. I bet that page is
I
still
forgot.
on.
I just try to stay out of Facebook jail. That's all I do.
Yeah, it's hard to do now. If you have an opinion on anything, you
Here,
can.
let me give you a hint, and I didn't know this until somebody told me, but you can make a series of entries and posts for your Facebook page and schedule them.
You cannot.
Yes, you can. You can do a week at a time, and you can put one for every single that you schedule it, and then poof, it pops up. Then you only do it once a week. I can show you. I learned how to do. Somebody told me I
Well,
did.
she should
found
volunteer.
your Facebook
Yeah, I was gonna say, we just found our volunteer.
Yeah, there you
go.
Yeah, so, but no, you know what, I think that's a great idea to get perhaps a high school student
Yeah,
who
Sure.
really is interested in the community they live in and the history of Streeter, and I'm sure they're
And
out there.
computers.
And is tech savvy, well, they all are.
Well, they all are,
We're
yeah.
old, that's true, I mean,
Yeah.
that's true.
Shoot, my little year and a half old niece and nephew can probably turn a computer on faster than my husband.
Right, right, so, yeah, so, okay, so the address here,
is 109 West Elm.
of course.
What?
Well, I was just saying, what it couldn't be.
Couldn't be
Park
Park Street. Corner of Elman Park.
Okay.
Corner of Elman Park.
In the middle,
I didn't realize
in
that.
the middle of City Park, right? If you
Yeah.
drove,
There you go.
down that, you
Yeah.
could be directly west of the fountain.
Yeah.
The building with the funny roof.
Just
Right, the building.
Next-
The one with the sign in front that says.
Next door to the former Elias Funeral Home.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
That's-
right, that's
Yeah.
right. I forgot
So-
about that.
Across from the
miss it.
community credit union.
Yeah,
It's-
you can't
There's a
miss
lot of
it.
easy
It's-
ways to find
It's
it.
the coolest building on Park Street.
There you
It is
go.
absolutely the coolest building on Park Street. It has a great, it's such a unique design. The architecture is awesome. Windows everywhere. You can't miss the sign in front. You know.
And you know, it must have been the thing back then, I'm just noticing now everything's at an angle, even the counter
Yeah.
is
Oh, yeah.
at an angle.
Yeah,
I just
nothing's-
noticed that.
Nothing's 90 degree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh, and me in my little corner, that's my idea over that little corner.
Yeah.
I always do things in the corner like that.
I like that.
Is there anything else we need to know?
Yeah.
Um,
What else? Do you want to tell us?
Not really.
No? We
I would like to.
everything
I would like to give a shout out to a former Streeterite Stephanie Martin.
Okay.
Good.
I don't know if you guys know
I
Stephanie.
do not.
She works down at the Lincoln Library, and she works with historical artifacts all day. I actually met Stephanie back when she was in high school. She was in band with my son. Now I'm dating myself
There you
because she
go.
was in band with my son. When I was president of the County Historical Society over in Utica, she interned there, and she was going to school at Northern Illinois University. I believe it was Northern, and for museum studies. So she interned there, and then she interned the next summer at the Streatorland Historical Society. So I worked with her at both places. Last September, right when all of this started, she reached out to me to come give a presentation down at the Lincoln Library in Springfield on Clyde Tombaugh. They were doing a thing on. So I went down there, and I knew.
That's the Pluto guy for you to
That's-
be that.
yeah, Clyde Tombaugh, the guy that discovered Pluto. So I had reconnected with her because of that. And I knew that this was, I had already talked to Dr. Ricca, but we hadn't agreed to take this space over yet, so I didn't say anything to her. But within a few weeks after I sent her a message saying, hey, we were gifted this great building. I know you went to school for this.
Oh.
Museum layout, museum studies. So just a few weeks ago, when she was in town, she contacted me and I gave her a tour, and she really gave me and Mary Lou a tutorial on,
Oh, okay.
not that she didn't like the ideas we had and how we were gonna set up, but she said, if you're gonna do that, you might wanna do it this way, or if you're gonna do that, think about adding this. So it really opened our eyes to doing what we were doing, but doing it in a better way.
Or more professional.
More professional.
How nice is that?
And then she took the time to sit and explain to me how to catalog our artifacts and how to make up a form, and so I
That's
want
something
to,
I'd like to do. I love doing that kind of.
yeah, so I really want to make sure to give a shout out.
822.
3427.
Volunteers on me?
Yeah. So, yeah, so kudos to her, because she,
Wow.
the knowledge that
And
she
what's your
gave
name
her,
again? Say your name.
Stephanie Martin.
Stephanie Martin.
Thank you,
A
Stephanie.
streeter girl that made
Yay,
good,
Stephanie.
worked on it, was the
Awesome.
museum.
Streeter girl made good, yay.
Yeah, and she really showed us what to do and has pushed us in the right direction as far as the cataloging that we're going to be getting into probably this week or next. Because
Wow.
as you can see, a lot of the rooms are done. They're just finishing up the painting,
Mhm,
and we're gonna start setting them up. So the cataloging has to be done as it's coming over.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah, so we're just
okay.
getting into that. We had no idea how to even begin. It's so overwhelming, because there has to be 10,000 separate
Oh my.
artifacts there.
That's-
Yeah, so,
And each one has to have their own.
well, to do
Catalog.
it right.
Yeah, right,
to do
right,
it-
right,
We
right.
may, like, we have hundreds of advertising pens and matchbooks and things from businesses, and we may clump some of them together into one item, but
Sure,
Ooh, I don't
But
envy
for-
you, not my favorite thing.
No.
yeah, it's gonna be a long, drawn-out process. But because those early years, all this stuff was given and it was just put around the museum, things are still in boxes in the attic in the basement over there,
Wow.
we are gonna discover things that were given to those early founders of the Historical Society, and they never wrote it down.
Sure.
Oh,
We're gonna, it's gonna be exciting going through all that
Really
one
exciting,
item at
kind of
a
like a
time.
treasure hunt.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so, yeah, I'm expecting to find
822.
3427.
3427.
What about speed dial?
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I just ask people to be patient with us. We don't know what we're doing. We have never done this. We're learning as we go. And we hope this is something that everybody's gonna love and appreciate. But it's gonna be a process getting from there to here in the next 2 months.
Yeah. Oh, it's a tremendous undertaking.
Well, it is, but it's kind of neat for, just for me, speaking for myself, being at the other one and then coming here to this empty
Yeah,
place, thinking all that stuff's gonna come here. I just cannot wait to
Right.
see the
Yeah.
the transformation.
yeah.
We're gonna have a big old, oh, we can have a
we-
big open house.
We are definitely gonna up our game.
Ah,
And,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I think it's just gonna be absolutely amazing.
And there's just so many
Absolutely
pluses,
amazing,
the location, the
yeah.
size,
Right.
the name value of
And-
where
yeah.
it came from, you
And-
know.
And one thing we're really happy about that hasn't been mentioned yet is we are totally handicap accessible.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right, that's
You're
right.
right.
That
that's
was
right, that's
always
right.
the big draw at the other place. You had steps to get up under
Yeah,
the porch, and
yeah.
then you could only do that level once you got up there, because most of the museum was in the basement.
So everything is going to be on one level.
Everything
right?
will be here on one level. All the doors are, the doctor's office, all the doors are handicap
Yes,
accessible. We have
yes.
handicap accessible restroom.
Yeah,
Everything.
very nice.
Everything here is humidity and air conditioning. Over there, we had radiator heat, hot water.
yeah.
So in the summer, we only had window air conditioners in a couple of rooms.
Right?
So this is going to be much better for the collection and the artifacts to be
Sure.
humidity controlled. So
Right. And then, I don't know that we talked about this, but the available square footage. Did we mention that
No.
the size comparison?
I don't know if we mentioned it or not.
I don't think we did.
We measured out, we think the one floor square footage is about double of what we have at the house. So, and that's counting the first floor
And
and the basement.
And you're saying
And
this is gonna be full.
And this is
whole-
twice that,
and it's
twice those
Twice.
two floors.
Twice those
Wow.
2 floors together.
Wow.
So-
Wow. Oh, yeah, everybody has to come here.
Oh,
Everybody has to
excited.
come here, absolutely.
And again, don't think, oh, you know, it's smaller, how are they gonna, you're going to be
Yeah,
surprised when you
right.
come into this building.
I was surprised when I walked in
Yeah.
here today. That was the first thing I
It
said to you.
is,
First thing I said to you was the
very
size.
deceiving from the outside
Mhm, mhm.
and pleasant when you come in. And I love all these windows. I love the daylight
Yeah.
that's available. This will be beautiful for the gift shop, and there's daylight,
Yeah.
and the front windows are large, so yeah.
And that's one of the things Stephanie pointed out, because we're gonna do this, we're gonna put things here. She's looking at the windows thinking, no, certain things can only be on the north wall, so because you don't want direct light coming in, certain,
Oh, good.
and it made us rethink,
Sure.
not just put the picture in, but put it on a wall that's not gonna get direct sunlight.
Well, the same thing that you went through with the flag, the
The Poundstone flag, yeah.
It had to be a certain way and set
Yeah.
up a certain way so the light didn't.
In a room where the sun wouldn't come in,
Stuff
yeah.
you just don't think about.
But, yeah, and I went through all that and I didn't even think about that here. I'm just
Yeah.
thinking, where are we gonna put all this?
Yeah, where are we
stuff?
gonna put it? Where are we gonna
Yeah,
put it?
so,
Well, I'm
Well,
excited.
thank you so much
Thank
for
you. Well,
joining us again and giving us
it's
an
always a
opportunity,
pleasure, it's always fun.
a sneak peek
I
into
can't wait to
what's
come
happening.
back
So
when
we
it's
don't
all
have
filled
to
up,
know.
right.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to promote it.
Absolutely. Well, we're gonna have to come back and take a tour.
Yes, you will.
Current
Once-
location, 306 South Vermillion, right?
Current location, 306 South Vermillion.
Right. Can't miss it, has a nice sign out front that says Streatorland Historical Museum.
And it's the only, on that block, it's the only one with a caboose in the yard.
There you go. Don't confuse it with the house next door.
Yeah.
No excuses. So you can't miss it.
How are you gonna move that caboose?
It's gonna be interesting. Yeah. I remember when they brought the caboose, that's how old I am. I was there when they brought the caboose.
So, new location, corner of Elman Park,
Yeah.
across the street from the city park. Hopefully, open to the general public around Memorial Day.
Well, we're hoping to be open Memorial Day, because we
Yeah.
want to take advantage of having people in the park and come
So
over
that's the
and
goal.
show off.
Right? Let's
Well,
see how
yeah.
that works out.
You bet. Show off is correct. Big
Yeah,
word.
right? If you want to volunteer your time and your muscles
And
and
what's
your energy.
What's better yet, if you're not a member of the Historical Society,
Oh, yeah.
join the Historical, it's only $12 a year, and you
Oh
get,
my God.
and you get a monthly newsletter.
Raise your rates.
I keep telling them that.
$12 a year,
Yeah.
oh my
And we
God.
spend-
It's $1 a month. Wow.
And we send you a newsletter that costs us 50 cents to send you, so we're only getting 50 cents a
Oh,
month.
geez Louise. Join the membership and give them double because now they got a bigger electric bill. So,
Donations are always welcome.
yeah,
Donations are always
$1 a month, $1 a month, oh my
But
God.
we get, like I said, dozens and dozens of people will send an extra $20 or $50
sure.
with it as a donation with
Sure.
their $12.
Well, thank
We call
God
them
for
angels.
that, yeah.
We are talking about what we always refer to this as the Ricca building. Because it's like, I'll be at the museum, and like, which one?
Yeah.
So, we call that the museum, we call this, I'll be at the Ricca building working. So somehow we want to work that name into the name of the museum.
Sure.
It's going to be the Streatorland Historical Museum, but somehow we got to get Dr. Glenn Ricca's name into it. There will be a big plaque on that wall right there, thanking both Dr. Ricca and the deacons for putting us in this position.
Nice.
But yeah, we do want to memorialize him somehow.
Oh, that'd be very
You
nice.
should invite Doug Deacon here.
Oh yeah, he will.
Yeah,
We are going to
there you
have,
go.
before we open to the public, we do want to have a limited open house with selected guests, and he'll definitely. Him and
So,
his brother,
famous people.
His brother Doug, who is now retired from the
Right.
Cleveland Browns
Right.
broadcasting. We're
So-
hoping to have both of them come, the city council,
nice.
the media like you guys.
Toni and Diane.
Toni and Diane.
But we are,
Anybody who has
okay.
helped us in any way.
But we are sitting in what is a future gift shop. And so I know at the current museum, you can buy postcards and there's some Streeter History in Black, I think it's called. I have a I bought
Biography in Black.
Biography in Black, thank you.
Yes.
And then you have a book
I have a
that
book.
was self-published. When, was that a year ago?
It was in June last
Yeah.
year. We're coming up on a year.
Right,
Wow.
and it's postcards from
It's
the
called
past?
Pictures from the Past, Streeter History Through Vintage Postcards.
Okay.
Let him talk.
Yeah, well, that was, I didn't want her to butcher the name of it.
I know, I already killed him, what was he? Anyway.
And I am dumbfounded how well that book has done.
It's a great
Oh,
book.
I haven't seen it. I gotta be honest,
Oh.
I haven't seen it.
Well, all the
I've heard
proceeds-
good things about it.
Yeah,
I have one at Baldwin House.
all the proceeds go to the Historical Society. I haven't made a dime off of this book.
Really?
It's something I've collected, Streeter vintage postcards for the last 30, 35
And
years.
these are all your?
These are my personal collection.
Wow.
I have somewhere between 300 and 350 different postcards of Streeter. Ed Brozak, who's a lifelong friend of mine, also collects Streeter postcards. For years, he's been telling me, we need to do a postcard book. We got all these cool.
Yeah.
Well, I retired 3 years ago, and I've been trying to get Ed to sit down with me, but even though he's been retired, he's still the busiest man
Sure,
in town.
yeah, I know
he's-
that feeling.
He was still on the council, head of the tourism, he's on the library board, he was on our board here. So I started piddling with it, scanning all my postcards in, I put them in order, and I'm just, a couple hours here and there piddling with it. Before I realized it, I was like 80% done with the book. All I had to do was write the introductions to each chapter. Because what I did is I put the postcard in and then I put some historical trivia about that location or what
Okay.
in the caption of the postcard. And so then I just needed, like, for churches, schools, industry, just wrote an introduction to that, 1-2 pages.
Sure.
And so Ed called me one day and said, hey, I just got done talking to Richard O'Hara, high school classmate of Ed's, who has
I know Richard.
he's done quite a few
number
books,
of books,
a number
right,
of books.
yeah. And that's where I was gonna ask you too, are they available?
Yes,
also?
and
Okay.
we have a lot of his books over there. And we call him one of our angels. Every time he does a book, he sends us 5 or 6 copies free
Oh.
of charge that we get to sell.
Nice.
That's
100%
really nice.
Yeah, he's a
Wow.
good guy. Well, he was talking to Ed, and so Ed called me, he was talking to Rich O'Hara, he just got me excited about doing this postcard book. I said, well, I'm like 90% done with it, because we're in a
Get
pandemic.
your own byline.
So, and I said, well, we can get together, because I wanted Ed to be part of it.
Sure.
And he goes, no. He says, your book, you've done all this work. And I said, but you have several cards I don't have. And I have several cards he doesn't have. There's not a lot of out there. So I met with him and Kurt Dye. And because Kurt has a couple dozen postcards. Not a big collection, but a nice little collection. And I found some they had that I didn't. So I included those in the book. And they get their, on loan from their
Their
collection.
byline.
I gave them credit for it, but I want to have as many different
Sure.
interesting cards in the book as possible. I ended up, even though I did the book and Ed and Kurt had a few cards in it, I did dedicate the book to Ed Brozak.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Because he was the impetus. He was the one that
Yeah.
for years got me thinking about it. And
Oh, that's neat though.
yeah, and he's a good guy and he deserves it. And we call him Mr. Streeter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good things
For
happen to
good
good
reason,
people.
right?
Yeah, good things happen to good people.
But that book came out about a year ago. We've sold about 500 copies, which
Wonderful.
town of 13,000. That's a higher percentage than I expected.
Wow.
That's great.
And I remember when it was done, I asked Ed, how many should we print? And I said, I'm thinking 50. And he's like, I'd go with 100. If you get stuck with a few, you'll have them at Christmas. He said. And I'm like, but the Historical Society said that they would pay for the upfront printing. And I thought, I don't want them to get stuck. I want them to
Right.
at least get and we sell, they only cost $8 to print. We're selling them for 15, so we're more or less doubling our money. And so he goes, you only got to sell half of them. You sell 50, they got their money back, and then you got the other 50. And so we ordered 100, and those were gone in 2 weeks. We had to
Oh
order 50.
my, wow.
Right.
And it's just, of course, you know, there was a big, right at the beginning,
Sure.
they went, but it has been very steady. 3 Wishes down on Main Street has sell them for me, sell them at the Historical Society, and selling them on Amazon.com.
Wow.
But the bulk of them are through the Historical Society and more on Main, and then the
And our up and coming Main Street.
and our up and coming
Wonderful.
Main Street.
Yes.
And then right before Christmas, well, I guess it wasn't right before Christmas, sometime in the fall, Ed Molo, friend of mine was street and home building and loan, asked if he could sell them at the store, at the bank. So we had a book signing.
Oh my gosh,
And-
how cool.
And that went over well, and so between Streeter Home and More on Main, about every 2-3 weeks, they sell out, and I have to go back and give them 10 more, so they're still selling.
Now, where do you go to have a book printed? I mean, where do?
I went to Amazon, they've got their own publishing company called Kindle Direct.
It's over my head.
And
Yeah.
that's,
There's a
Richard
lot of-
O'Hara is who I reached out to.
My mother used to be Mr. O'Hara's housekeeper.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So his books, your book, a number of other books that have
Yes,
been written in the
this
past.
is The Story of Streeter, which
right.
is a great book, biography in black, Richard's books,
Yeah.
my book.
Yeah. And I know there's sweatshirts and t-shirts and.
We're gonna have hats, sweatshirts,
postcards.
t-shirts, we
So
have
will it be?
coffee mugs.
Okay,
Oh,
so
cool.
maybe a
Yeah.
little bit more than what's at the
Yes,
existing
a lot more,
spot?
a lot more. She wants to do candles, some jewelry. Not
Keychains?
everything is gonna,
Keychains, magnets?
keychains, magnets, not everything's gonna be with the name Streeter on
Right.
it. I want everything to have Streeter on it.
Yeah, no,
But she said, you know, everybody in town sells candles. And then it's like, well, there's a reason. Because everybody
Because people like
likes
buy
them.
them.
So we
People
should
like
sell them here too. It's like,
Well, you know, and Kay's Secret Garden
yes,
sells the scented candles that are scents from Streeter's
Streeter,
history.
yeah.
Streeter's past,
Yeah.
right?
and they really do smell like
Yes,
too.
right, and they have some really great candles there, so I don't know if that's
Yeah,
where you're thinking, but,
yeah. And we don't wanna like step on their toes.
no, but.
But if she wants to sell some here,
Right, that's what I'm thinking. But
Oh, yeah.
I think it's great to have the coffee mugs and much of what you already have, but the reason I ask about magnets and keychains is because everybody will buy a magnet.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, my brother, every time I go somewhere, I have to buy a magnet. The whole side of his refrigerator is just covered with magnets.
Yeah.
And I think, I know when my family comes to visit, that's one of the first things they say is, where can I go get a souvenir that I can take home?
right?
And
Yeah.
this would be ideal for that.
And-
Tourist person comes.
And I've noticed, because I go to a lot of history-related museums, I go to a lot of Civil War battlefield sites, and they all have the gift shop.
Mhm.
And one thing I notice is they have a lot of kids-related things,
Mm. Yeah.
related to whatever that museum is, so we're kind of thinking, like, we're gonna have a train exhibit here, obviously, train is a big part of Streeter history, so we wanna have like the $2 train whistle that you can blow, and,
Oh,
you know, the little engineer
Yeah,
hats
yeah.
and,
Right?
You know,
I need one
Great.
of those little train whistles to train my dog.
so things like, we're gonna have
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
so all
cool.
kinds of new and exciting things and a lot of some of the old and exciting things and, yeah. Memorabilia, nostalgia. that
Lots to
makes you
look
think
forward to.
back. Yeah,
Yes. It's
so.
gonna be an exciting summer.
Do you feel overwhelmed?
Yes, very much.
I bet.
But we'll get through it.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, you will. This.
Well, we're really excited. We're excited for you, we're
Yeah.
excited for the museum, we're excited for the community, for Streeter. We'll be back with Toni
Yep.
and Diane out and about. And volunteers are you. 822.
3427. And you too.
815-822-3427.
Yeah.
God, you think I'd said that often enough, I wouldn't have to keep looking
I still
at it.
can't remember.
No, but it is true, right? Volunteers are you, volunteers are
Yeah.
us.
This is Streeter,
Right.
this is for Streeter. Streeter us, Streeter
Right.
strong, Streeter
Right.
historical.
Right. Right, and we live in a wonderful community in the.
And we're not all gonna be, like you said, we're all older, we're not gonna be here forever.
Yeah,
Anyway, so I think anything else you want to say?
I think that's
Comments?
it. I think
Very good,
I've
very
been talking long enough.
You can talk, I thought I could talk. You are my man.
I've
I'm
been told
sitting here and
that.
nod my head. So anyway, so we're done for today, here at the new home of the Streatorland Historical Museum. Not quite yet, but it'll be here soon.
Future.
Dave, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And all
sure.
your information, you're a wealth, you're a gem for
Yeah.
Streeter. Yeah.
We didn't get to talk much about Streeter history, but
No, but that's
that'll
all
be-
right.
after we get
come
moved in,
here
we can
and
do
learn
that.
all
Do
about it.
that.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe we can do like a room at a time.
yeah.
Like Martha Stewart cleaned, we're supposed to clean your house one room at a time. So we can do one room
Okay.
at a time.
All right.
All right.
I'm on board. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Well, this is Toni and Diane. We are out and about. We're signing off.
We're signing off from the new home of the Historical Museum in Streator. And this is Toni and Diane out and about for Gleam TV for MediaCom.
See you next time.